Good afternoon. Behind me there's a little rain cloud over the painted desert, and I'm going to stop with this beautiful backdrop to talk about one of my very favorite anime.
Porco Rosso.
When people ask me what my favorite anime are, I invariably start my list with Hayao Miyazaki's 1992 movie, Porco Rosso. It's Miyazaki's most personal work, and still his only non-Lupin work starring adults. It takes place between Italy and Greece, among the islands of the Adriatic Sea, during the exuberant heyday of private aviation. In the too brief illusion of peace between the First and Second World Wars, when barnstorming was the rage in the U.S., seaplanes flourished across southern Europe. Marco is an old-school gentleman, an Italian pilot and hero of the First World War. His youthful idealism died with his friends in that war, and it changed him. Literally, physically, he's now a man with the head of a pig. He lives alone, camping in a small cove on a tiny, secret, deserted island. He works as a freelance bounty hunter against air pirates, using his signature red seaplane. Together with his prowess in aerial dogfights, that's earned him the sobriquet Porco Rosso, the Crimson Pig. For their part, the air pirates talk a good fight, but they aren't really to be taken very seriously. They use their seaplanes to raid ships, but they're as likable as Gilbert and Sullivan's Pirates of Penzance, and even less dangerous. Porco seems to outfly them every time, though his code of honor dictates that he never shoots at the pirates themselves, but only at the engines of their plane. It's like the old American westerns, where the good guy will only shoot the gun out of the hands of the bad guy. Porco has kept these pirates so poor they can't even afford to paint their airplane. Despite their differences, every pilot in the Adriatic agrees that they love Gina. She runs the Hotel Adriano, and its bar is the gathering place for one and all. By common agreement, its island and the nearby size and skis are neutral ground where everyone can come in to dine in peace and drink and listen to Gina sing. It's like Rick's place in Casablanca, only classier. Gina is a charming and sophisticated businesswoman and an old childhood friend of Marco. She's been married 3 times to pilots, and each time her husband has died. Her first husband was Berlini, another old childhood friend of both Gina and Marco, who died fighting beside Marco in the war. The pirates, in an act of desperation, decide to hire an American ace in order to deal with Porco Rosso for them. Curtis is a brash and cocky pilot, winner of the Schneider Cup in his plane, and ready to fall in love with any woman who crosses his path. And in the Adriatic, that means Gina. Not that he has a chance.
素晴らしい人だ。ホテルアドリアーノのマダム・ジーナは国の飛行艇乗りにも有名だもんな。そこでは空賊も賞金稼ぎもいい子にしてるってよ。
シュナイダーカップで2年続けてイタリア艇を破ったやつだ。
ここらじゃポルコロッソとかいう豚が名を売ってるそうじゃねえか。
After Porco's plane gets shot up in a dogfight with Curtis, he heads to Milan, where an old friend of his runs a custom aircraft repair business. There he meets Fio, his friend's 17-year-old granddaughter. She's a talented aircraft engineer, bright and enthusiastic, and so stubborn that she can seem more pig-headed than Porco himself. After she repairs and improves Porco's plane, they begin a partnership together that brings her back to the Adriatic with him. Porco Rosso works its magic on many levels. The pirates are purely a slapstick comedy act, and when they're around, the action gets a lot silly. Bullets fly everywhere, and no one ever gets hit by them. But the movie also has a more subtle wit in scenes between Porco and Fio, and between Porco and Gina. Also, it has a grand romantic story in which Gina hopes that one day Marco will come to the hotel for her, a hope she refers to as her bet. And finally, it has a more serious tale of rekindling a burnout. Porco is a man coping in a world that's changed a lot since he was a child, often in ways he doesn't like or understand. After witnessing the senseless death in war, and burdened by the guilt of having survived it, he's transformed himself into a pig as the ultimate rejection of his humanity. On a trip to the mainland, when a clerk asks him to buy Patriot bonds, Porco responds that he leaves that sort of thing to humans. Later, when he has a weapons dealer that tells him that the new government may outlaw bounty hunting, Porco retorts that laws don't mean much to a pig. And he utters the classic line, "I'd rather be a pig than a fascist." Despite all that, he defiantly maintains his own antiquated code of honor in the tradition of the lone combat warrior. Theo provides this jaded man with a reminder of what it was like to be young, optimistic, and idealistic. Theo is the same age that Marco was when he first flew a plane solo. That first solo flight is a big deal for a pilot, by the way. When Theo tells Porco that she has faith in him, Porco confesses that he hasn't had faith in anything for a long time. Even though a newcomer to the island, Theo, along with Gina, sees Porco for what he was. Just like the engines of his plane, Porco is sputtered to a stop. And just like Theo overhauls the plane, Theo overhauls Porco's life. Perhaps with Gina, they have the right stuff to bring Marco back.
私が女だから不安なの？それとも若すぎるから？
両方だよ、お嬢さん。
そうね、当然だわ。ねえ、いいパイロットの第一条件を教えて。経験？
いや、インスピレーションだな。
よかった、経験だって言われなくて。ねえ、おじいちゃんに聞いたんだけど、あなたの単独飛行はとても早かったんですってね。
Porco Rosso is both written and directed by the great Hayao Miyazaki, and his Studio Ghibli's animation is gorgeous. The very subject matter of the film gives him a chance to indulge his romance with flight, and it soars through the skies. The attention to detail is amazing. In one scene, the pirates have kidnapped a dozen little schoolgirls. Watch the shots of those girls running amok in the pirates' plane carefully, and you can see every one of them is up to some different kind of mischief. Gina wears different earrings in different scenes, and they all follow her head movements perfectly, turning and changing and reflecting the different angles of the light. When Porco lands in a small cove, the water is so clear you can see the ripples in the sand beneath the waves. This is superb hand-drawn artistry. Composer Joe Hisaishi has provided the interior soundtrack, and it's spectacular. Inside, Miyazaki has used the European period classic song Temps de Cerries. For the ending credits, he's used an original song that fits beautifully into the melancholy period tradition of that song, but sung in Japanese. Inside, Joe Hisaishi has written not just a few ditties for the comedic effect, but some inspiring accompaniment to the flying scenes and a sumptuous love theme for Gina and Porco, which accompanies Porco's flyover of the Hotel Adriano when he returns from Milan. In some ways, this is Miyazaki's most frivolous movie, and in other ways, it's his most elegant. It may seem strange to say this about a cartoon starring a man with the head of a pig, but it's also his most personal and sophisticated. It has a rare depth of character and a subtle ambiguity to it. The way Theo rebuilds Porco's plane is much like the way a director creates an animated film. He draws the storyboards and oversees a huge team making all the little piece parts. In some ways, Porco is an expression of Miyazaki's midlife crisis. And he's followed it with a great second act too, by the way. So, it's no surprise I give Porco Rosso 5 stars. There are 3 outstanding characters here. Theo is excellent as the bundle of youthful enthusiasm and idealism. Gina is splendid as a mature, strong, sophisticated woman. And Porco is absolutely magnificent as a world-weary, middle-aged man plodding through what's left of his life. It remains my favorite anime. Trust me, you'll understand it better when you're older. Disney has released Porco Rosso in the US with dub or subtitle. While I love the English voices of Theo and Gina, I didn't think Michael Keaton made a very convincing Porco. I prefer the Japanese soundtrack, and since this one isn't quite so popular with the grandkids, I usually get to use it too. Thanks for watching.